Hey guys, so recently we learned about if statements and how awesome those are. Now I'm going to show you how to do a little bit more with them by showing you more comparison operators. So when you're making your condition, you can, do more things with it. So what I'll do to start off is I'll just make two variables. I'll say A is equal to 5 and B is equal to 3. And then if A is greater than B, print A is bigger. Okay, so simple enough. If I run this, I see A is bigger because 5, or A, is greater than B, which is 3. 5 is greater than 3. So the opposite of this is if B is greater. So if 5 is less than 3, which it's not, so when we run this, we see nothing print out. We can also use equal to, which is a double equal sign, not a single one. That messes up a lot of people. So we see nothing print out because 5 is not equal to 3. So just to show you, when they are equal, it does print out. This does mean they are exactly equal to. So the reason we use 2 is because 2 means comparison, 1 means assignment. I want to assign the value 5 to my variable b. So that's why we have 2. If we have this exclamation point equals, that means not equal to. So if we run this, we get nothing because 5 is equal to 5. So if we change this to literally anything that's not 5, this will be true because 5 is not equal to 3. So we also have greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. That's how you represent those. I'm not going to go into more examples because I think you guys get the picture. So we will move right along into an example. I'm going to make another variable and I'll say C is equal to 4. So we're going to talk about nested if statements. So nesting just means putting something inside of another thing. So if I put an if statement within an if statement, I have a nested if statement. So let me just show you. So if A is greater than B, then I want to check if A is also greater than C, because if that is true, then A is the biggest. Oh my. So this is my nested if statement because I nested it or put it inside the block of this if statement. So if this if statement is false, we don't even check this one because it's ignored, just like anything else in an incorrect if statement would be ignored. So if I run this, we see A is the biggest because 5 is greater than 3 and 5 is greater than 4. So now let's change this around. So now we're saying if A is less than B. So if we run this, if A is less than B, if 5 is less than 3, well it's not, so we ignore this even though this if statement is true. 5 is greater than 4. It doesn't matter because this one is false. So those are nested if statements. You can also nest for loops or while loops inside of for loops just the same way. It just means that they kind of operate a little differently, so you need to be a little careful. So the alternative to nesting if statements is writing compound conditionals. So what that means is this is a condition and this is a condition. What if I could just have both of those in one if statement? So the way we do that is I'm going to change this back to if A is greater than B and A is greater than C, then I want to print A as the biggest. So when we say and here, that means this conditional has to be true and this conditional has to be true for this to run. If either one of these conditions is false, we won't see anything. But because 5 is greater than 3 and 5 is greater than 4, we see A is the biggest get printed out here. So instead of saying and here, we could also say or instead. So and says both conditions have to be true for the whole thing to be true in the if statement to run. Or says this or that or both can be true for the whole thing to be true and our if statement to run. So what I'll do is I want to make this condition false. So I'm going to make B 33. So now when we look at this, if 5 is greater than 33, which it's not, so this is false. So we continue on and we say, or if 5 is greater than 4, which it is, so this condition is true. So now we have if false or true, well, because of or, the whole thing becomes true. And if we run this, we get A as the biggest. So I hope that made a little sense. It's just something that requires some practice, but it is pretty simple once you understand it. So I hope you learned something. Have a good one, guys.